You just don't care, no. I don't wanna play, baby, I'm just fine. I don't need you anymore.
For content information and a link to the written version of this video, please check the description below. If I sound ill, it is because I am. I am currently dealing with hay fever, so that is why I may sound a little bit stuffy during this video. I was on holiday last week and preparing for the holiday the week before, so I wasn't able to get this video out earlier, but it is coming now. So yeah, I hope you enjoy my review of the first episode of Marvel's What If. Spoilers. This entry contains spoilers for episode 1 of Marvel Studios' What If series, so if you haven't seen it yet, I recommend you do that before checking out this entry. There will also be minor spoilers for the film Captain America: The First Avenger. I do not own the rights to any of these characters or events mentioned. They are property of Marvel Studios and the Walt Disney Company. Welcome to the first entry in this series, where we discuss each episode of Season 1 of Marvel's first ever MCU canon animated series. This series focuses on what would happen if one thing within the MCU changed. These episodes are presented in 30-minute runtimes and are stuffed to the brim of juicy content to explore. In the first episode of What If, we follow what would happen if Peggy Carter took the super soldier serum in place of Steve Rogers. This review is a couple weeks behind when the episode first aired. This is because I was on holiday last week and busy preparing for it the week before, as I mentioned, and just didn't have the time to work on it. I toyed with the idea of jumping in with the third episode, but it didn't feel fair. That said, I hope you enjoyed the review. Disclaimer. I am not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or Marvel Studios. All assets of these companies, which I mention here, are strictly for reviewing purposes. I do not claim to own any of the content, and I do encourage you all to check out the original media the content we are exploring was based on. If you would like to support me personally, you can check my links down below, where you'll find my Cash App, my GoFundMe to help support my transition costs, and you'll also find my email, where you can email me about inquiries for certain things, and also you will find my link to my Twitter, which is @UTU with JJ. That's all the links are in the description below. Now, okay, let's actually get on with the video. I've been stalling a lot. What birthed this new reality? Before we get into the main plot and what I thought of it, we need to start by seeing what changed. The episode pinpoints the moment a new reality branched when Peggy Carter decided to stay in a room when Steve Rogers was supposed to receive the super soldier serum instead of going up to the booth. This sets off several smaller changes, such as the other members of the viewing party also deciding to stay on the floor, which changes when and where the planned Hydra attack takes place. Steve is injured in the commotion and is not strong enough to continue with the experiment. Peggy kills the shooter much earlier than she did in the original reality, and offers to take Steve's place to receive the serum, which leads us to the question the episode proposes. What if Captain Carter were the First Avenger? The plot. Peggy receiving the serum does not go down well with everyone, and she's purposely left out of missions that would otherwise be beneficial in. She's marked as a failure, and her only hope in their eyes is to use her blood to someday create a real, in quotes, super soldier. There are those who do stand by her though. Steve Rogers and Howard Stark are the most notable. Peggy is quick to prove herself to be an incredible fighter and quickly climbs the ranks to become Captain Carter. Steve Rogers is given the Hydra Stomper suit, created by Howard Stark, which is powered by the Tesseract, essentially making Steve the first Iron Man. After breaking Bucky Barnes out from his cell, the trio and the Howling Commandos leap onto the top of the train in the hopes of taking out Red Skull. Bucky almost falls like he did in the First Avenger, and Captain Carter helps him up, only for Steve to be the one who fall off the train. Red Skull captures Steve and the Tesseract, using it to summon the champion of Hydra, aka Shumagoroth, who doesn't give a hoot about who is summoning it, and crushes Red Skull in one of its tentacles. Captain Carter jumps into the portal of whence it came in order to destroy it, donning her shield, created by Howard, and an epic sword she found lying about. She escapes the portal decades later and is greeted by Nick Fury and Hawkeye. The setting. One of this episode's strongest points was the setting. The animation of this episode was nothing less than a work of art. One of the highlights was the use of light and the way it touched the characters, giving them all heavenly glow, especially when it came to Captain Carter. The nighttime scenes were gorgeous, and I especially loved the close-up of Red Skull's hood ornament as he approached his castle in his car in true Disney villain fashion. One of my favourite scenes was set during Steve's physiotherapy. The golden light illuminated the room beautifully and gave the atmosphere such a warm feeling. If you're enjoying this review so far, consider checking out my Patreon. The link is in the description below. For just £1 a month, or your currency's equivalent of £1, you'll be able to see all my videos a day before they are released. So again, Patreon is in the link below. The characters. This episode had a nice fleshed out cast of characters, many of whom we already know and love. Here is my overview of the main characters from this episode and what I thought of their role in the story. Captain Carter. Captain Carter was the main focus of this episode, and she did not disappoint. From facing misogynistic challenges in the workplace to figuring out her feelings for Steve Rogers, Captain Carter really shows her strength in this episode. The way her character fought right off the bat was nothing less than incredible. It was almost like she was dancing. Captain Carter is a natural-born leader and is not afraid to get stuff done, no matter what any individual thinks of her. She is a true role model, and honestly, I could watch an entire film just about her. Steve Rogers. Look at how Steve basks in the golden light. He is a beautiful man with a beautiful heart. This episode really highlights the fact Steve was always destined to be a hero, becoming the first Iron Man in his Hydra Somber suit, invented by Howard Stark instead of the Captain America we all know he plays so well. Steve exuded positivity and played the perfect companion to Captain Carter. You could see just how much these two characters cared for each other, and that's something we rarely get to see done so well in the MCU. Howard Stark. Howard brought a lot of the comedy to this episode, acting as somewhat of a wingman for both Captain Carter and Steve Rogers. He makes it clear he has no interest in being a hero when he turns down the chance to take the super soldier serum, but he proved himself important in other ways, like using the Tesseract's power to create a Hydra Stomper suit. Howard is a great inventor, but an even greater friend, who will do anything to support those he cares about. John Flynn. I only have one thing to say about John Flynn, and that's what an absolute misogynistic jerk. Moving on. Bucky Barnes. Excuse me? Who thought it was okay to make an animated character this attractive and get away with it? All jokes aside, I really loved Bucky in this episode. It was so nice to see him truly play as himself and not be subjected to that horror. And not be subjected to that horrible Winter Soldier program. Sure, he almost loses his arm, but yet again he is saved by Captain Carter. If this episode had any relation to fairy tales, Bucky would without a doubt be this episode's damsel in distress, and I love that. It's always great being able to see the characters we all love from a different perspective. Red Skull and Shumagorath. As I mentioned earlier, Red Skull truly embodies a Disney villain in this episode. There is a cartoonish evil to him in this episode which is just delightful to watch. All he was missing was a villain song. His plan was clearly not thought out very well enough, though, since he thought he could control a ginormous space entity that is kind of known for destroying things. I placed Shumagorath in this section as well because I felt it deserved a mention, but it didn't really have enough screen time to warrant its own block. Shumagorath was horrifying to watch. You could see how high it raised the stakes this episode after it crushed Red Skull in its short screen time. It owned the screen and demanded we saw it, and wow, did we see it. My overall thoughts. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a strong start for the series as a whole, and it made me excited to see more. The animation was sublime, the characters were all well conceived, and the question that it asks was generally intriguing. The ending left the door open for more Captain Carter in the future, so I'd like you to join me as we ponder the question, what's next? The episode ends with Captain Carter arriving in the future, being greeted by Nick Fury and Hawkeye. There are many theories circulating online over her introduction to the Guardians of the Multiverse storyline, which I would absolutely love to see. But failing that, I believe events would somewhat play out the same with Captain Carter taking Steve's place. Of course, there would be no Captain Carter and the Winter Soldier scenario going forward. A civil war is still possible, but it's difficult to say. I'd be interested to see if there was a Falcon in this universe or not. If there is, I imagine the way Sam Wilson meets Captain Carter would be a vastly different scenario, but I'd love to see a team up. It's looking like none of that will be explored though, as we are setting up a team of multiversal Avengers, it appears. Hopefully we get to see Captain Carter transferred over to the big screen. Either way, I love her character and I'm so glad Peggy Carter is getting even more love. So this was the first entry in my What If review series. I know this is a few weeks late, but as I mentioned earlier, it really didn't seem fair to start 3 episodes in and ignore the 2 amazing episodes that preceded it. My next entry in this series will be out very soon, so I hope you check it out. Thank you for supporting me, and don't forget you can subscribe down below, hit the like button if you like the video, hit the notification bell to be notified of more videos on this channel, comment your thoughts on this video and anything you like, really. Just make sure to keep them respectful. And yeah, so my next goal is 350 subscribers by the end of August, which is in a couple of days. I know we can get it because we've got like 5 to go, and I think we're already here, but I lost a few subscribers, but oh well. So yeah, hopefully we can hit that before the end of August, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.